I think the big talk of it was, okay, this guy did break the absolute rule that's on the back of his ticket, and he stormed the ring, but it's the fracas that occurred afterwards when the guy was restrained.
Yeah.
That is the talk. Is Dash
Yes.
Wilder as of the tag team, the Revival, very clearly, and this is 2019, folks. There's cell phone cameras everywhere. Smashed this
Right.
kid right in the face, and
Well,
it doesn't look good.
I mean, yeah, let's be clear. The kid deserved everything he got.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely, yeah.
you know, back in the day, Johnny Ace and I were wrestling the Midnight Express. I want to say it wasn't Fort Bragg. It was in South Carolina. Those where oh God, I'm so bad with names anymore. It's where Brian Armstrong was stationed. In fact, that was the first time I met Brian. Was when we were at their show. He was stationed there. Beautiful field house, but because it's for the grunts, right? In the military, there's no air conditioning, and this is like July, August, early September. I forget the exact. I want to say it was August. Brutally hot outside, humid and hot. Well, the TV lights back then, without the high-res cameras we have now. And so what they're doing to keep everybody cooled down is they're pouring beer down their gullets. And during our match, some guy, I'm sure you can probably find it online someplace, some guy comes running down and jumps the railing, very similar to this kid the other night, and goes to slide under the bottom rope. When he does, Bobby Eaton sees him, and he football punch him right in the face. And the guy, like in the cartoons, like when they melt down the stairs, that's exactly what this guy did. And there was no fallout for you don't come over that railing, and if you do, some of these guys that know how to handle themselves are going to take care of business that way. So that kid deserved anything and everything he got. But your point well taken, being 2019, and cameras every place. Once somebody is restrained, you get pulled over by the cops and you throw a fit and try to play tough guy, they cuff you. Those cops can't then beat the snot out of you while you're handcuffed. We've seen video footage of that happening, right? Body cam footage and stuff. And those cops typically end up getting in trouble. At very least, the person that got the shit beat out of them ends up getting a hell of a settlement from the city or the state. So as much as I despise hearing myself say this jackass is probably going to walk away with some kind of a payoff. And what that does is that sends a message to every other jerk off out there. Hey, maybe I can do it next year and get some money. Memo to the guys in the dressing room. First of all, great shot by the guys that got their shots on this idiot. But just wait till you get them someplace where there ain't cameras. You just can't do that in today's day. And I'm from the old school saying, hey, this guy deserved everything he got, and you ought to be able to do that. You jump that railing, want to play tough guy, you ought to realize that, especially when you're jumping up on a guy that's in his 60s, survived cancer, had a stroke. You want to play tough guy, why don't you go jump on one of those big boys when they come out, that are in their 20s and maybe early 30s and see what happens. And the other part of that, final part of that being, he comes up behind Bret, right? I'd be willing to lay my last buck that if Bret had seen him coming early enough, that he would have stretched that kid 10 ways to Sunday. But, just an incredibly stupid thing to do. How many kids were there in the building? How many other people are watching this and want to hear the Hart Foundation being inducted? Poor Natalie, it looked at first like she was trying to keep Bret upright, and she ends up getting pulled down with the melee. But the first question I have preceding all of this is, how in the hell does this guy make it into the ring in the first place? I know security can't be everywhere, but as soon as you see somebody beginning to break over that railing, the security has got to be on them. Go back and look at Atlas and ECW. Those guys did a pretty damn good job of protecting us from those aberrant fans that were occasionally there. I can't imagine that a company like WWE with their resources couldn't have done a better job. Again, I understand that, there's no foolproof way of sanitizing that kind of bullshit out. But to me, like when you watch the video and you see this guy coming over, it would seem to me that as soon as you're watching, somebody's got to be watching the perimeter, right? And as soon as you see somebody start to lurch over that railing, they should have been on them. I mean, this is Monday morning quarterbacking now because it's happened. But my God, thank God, all we're talking about is this guy pulling them down. Thank God this guy didn't have a knife. Thank God this guy didn't have a gun. Something else that could have done something horribly off the scales. But note to WWE, make damn sure you better be having a little review of your security practices and procedures, because that should never ever be allowed to happen, ever. And like I said, it sickens me to say it, but I can't imagine that this guy isn't going to walk away with something, if not from the WWE, from the people that are videoed, beating him in the face as he's restrained. Absolute bullshit. I mean, I was mortified. As soon as, I don't know how shortly after, but it wasn't, I'm guessing around like 9:30, my phone started buzzing that night. And it may have even been earlier. I was just in the room not paying attention at the time. And my phone started buzzing that Bret had been attacked from friends back here in Pittsburgh. And, so I buzzed Moose right away, and, he said, confirmed it and said that, that it had happened. And then it wasn't long after that before the videos started surfacing. Shocking. It's hard to shock people that have been in the business as long as I've been in the business and seen the things that I've seen. But that shocks me. A, because it's the WWE. B, because it's at a pretty big event, the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And C, again, where in God's name was fucking security to let this guy even get that close enough to be able to touch the talent? Astounding. It still boggles my mind.
And one thing that bothers me is the way it was set up. They never did the Hall of Fame like that before, where they kind of had like a half-open ring, and the fans were basically right next to the ceremony. Usually it's the wrestlers and the families and everything else that are right in front with the Hall of Fame, and the fans are all the way in the back, where they would literally have to go through a sea of 100 wrestlers and their families in order to get next to the stage. The way it was set up was terrible, and I feel like that's on WWE security. If you're going to set it up like that, you better have somebody surrounding the ring, or 4 guys surrounding the ring. It was terrible.
Yeah, I never thought of that until you just said it, but you're right. It's every time I've seen the Hall of Fame in the past, there's been, like the first, 10 rows or whatever, wrestlers and their families, and everybody's up on a stage. Has it ever been done that way in the ring before?
No,
never.
Nope.
Yeah, I thought it looked odd, and I didn't even think about it until you just mentioned it. But I think that, how much you want to bet next year they're back to the old way?
Yes.